This is the Facial Recognition Comedy Podcast. I'm Fizza Dasani.
I'm Zara Ali.
I'm Pallavi Godalan.
And today's guest is very funny comedian and songstress Lahna Turner.
Hey guys.
Hi, Lahna.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
So it was funny because we actually just ran into each other at a show 2 hours ago, and I hadn't seen you in over a year.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
And a lot happened.
Yeah.
So it was serendipitous.
Mm-hmm.
Really happy that you were available.
Yeah, no, it was perfect. We're like, what are you doing now? Podcast. Oh, cool. Let's do it.
And
so here we are,
come
in the middle of the night.
That's so awesome.
And then Paul, our sound engineer, was supposed to be out of town, but he's here on a Thursday. This was meant to be. It's Thursday, right?
Yes. It is Thursday. It's late Thursday night. It's 10:30. 10:30 p.m. on a Thursday night.
So, yeah, I know, like... So
I was going to say you were going to talk about hair, but instead you're talking to me. So I'm like,
and you have great hair. You do have great hair.
I have hair. Yeah?
Yeah. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. From what I've seen on stage, it's beautiful hair. And it goes with the whole act because you do musical comedy with your guitar and you do these sweet songs about butt stuff. And it's just,
some butt stuff.
And it's so sweet.
I
it's
like
so
that.
Sweet and funny and hilarious.
Stuff about butts.
So for the listeners, we originally didn't have a guest scheduled. We were going to do an episode about hair and maintenance because women of South Asian descent have a lot of hair and therefore a lot of maintenance. But we're gonna table that because we're lucky enough to have Lahna here.
Who I can talk hair, but yes, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Shoes have hair too.
Oh yeah,
yeah. We have to do hair maintenance, but yeah,
yeah. So we actually met online through.
That sounds so dirty.
So for our listeners,
we did.
Okay, a lot of comedians end up meeting online because just through social media and whatnot, and being on similar flyers and such, we just end up becoming friends.
But this was different. It was like your friend Doug, who I didn't know personally, and he found me on Twitter and connected us. But you didn't even like the tweet until months later. We met in person, I think, at the Comedy Store.
Oh, and that's when terrible. I didn't like. I go through waves on social media where I'll be like really active and talk, and then I just get busy and then I drop the ball. But I'm always trying. I put my best effort in. But
I don't blame you at all.
Doug is like Doug went with me the first time I ever did stand up. I've known him for a lot of years, and he's one of my best friends out of Houston. And he was telling me, he's like, I found this woman who's so funny. I feel like you guys need to know each other. And then he connected us online.
Wait, so
oh my God.
That's really sweet.
Yeah.
Really
no, he
sweet.
Thinks you're hilarious and he's got good taste in comedy. So, and I'm sure he'll discover both of you through this podcast and he'll be like, oh my God. So yeah, he's a big comedy fan,
supportive.
Comedy connoisseur. So compliments, kudos.
Did you start comedy in Houston?
I did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How old were you?
Like,
this was last year.
I was like 5. I've been doing it 20 years.
You're like, so you all have mommies and daddies, right?
Right, y'all there. I was born in Canada, so I'm Canadian Texan.
Marry me.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Get me out of here.
Is that a normal migration from Canada to Texas? I have never heard of that combination before.
I don't think it happens much.
Well,
the joke is howdy, eh?
Yeah, but there are parts of Canada that are like the Wild West, right?
This is true. Like there are there's a Canadian country scene.
Yeah,
but I mean, I was Calgary,
like Banff, right?
Yeah, there's a whole thing. Like there's a whole country music scene in Canada that's very Canadian. As far as country music.
Yeah, Canadian cowboy boots and like riding horses and everything.
That's totally, but that wasn't us. Like I was in Toronto and then just got displaced to Texas. And I feel more Canadian than Texan as far as my disposition and such. But I started stand-up when I was in Houston. So, yeah. And Houston has a great comedy scene, always has. There was like 4 clubs when I first started stand-up there. And then if you get outside of Houston, there's more clubs. So there's a tremendous pool of very funny people and a lot of opportunity for stage time. So it's a good place to start.
We just got to go in September and do our show there.
Oh,
and
cool.
it was
Yeah.
awesome.
Was it the
great.
Improv or
It
was
was
it?
the secret group.
Oh, okay,
secret
cool.
group, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
I
we
know
brought-
of it. I've never been there, but it's like supposed to be a great
It's
space.
really fun. It's like
run by comics,
by
too.
young comics.
I think
yeah.
I know some of the comics that started it because they were there when I used. Yeah, so
That's
that's,
awesome.
rad.
Yeah, so we brought the show there, and the audiences there are great. And I don't know, when we went to Houston, I was expecting some like people to be more conservative, but
right.
I don't know if there was just sort of a migration of people from New Orleans after but like Houston, they're so it's so young.
They were
And it's
really
fun.
receptive. Like I didn't feel like I was in, some weird
Right.
place in the middle America where, I'm this strange character
in
that no one's seen
Texas.
before. Yeah.
No, but Houston's a big city and it's progressive and like there's educated, but like not
Yeah.
I mean,
Rice
like,
is there. And
yeah, you're gonna draw the crowd that wants to see you. So
Yeah.
but
We
Houston's a good town.
we had a lot of South Asian people come through. I'm correcting myself now with the Desi versus South Asian
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was
Houston
nice.
though has one of the like coolest area. God, I don't remember the street. There's like one street that's some of the best Indian restaurants, most authentic that I've ever been to outside of India. And like there's like large ethnic diversity in the entire city.
Yeah, there's
Big
a
gay
huge
community. I mean, it's a huge city.
There is a huge Middle Eastern population in Houston as
Yeah.
well. I always have great, Arab food when I go there
Yep.
as well.
You've been to India?
I have, yeah.
Oh, when did you go?
After college, I went for India and Nepal. I was there for 4 months.
Oh, wow.
Did you find yourself?
In India?
Yeah, were you
You know, that's so funny
You do
because
yoga?
I went to Rishikesh where the ashrams are, where the Beatles went and all that. And I found it to be the most unspiritual place I've ever been. Like there's a long bridge that goes into, and I'd heard so many good things. And I thought, oh, maybe I'll do an ashram. I've never, and so I'm crossing this bridge with my travel companion, and I have a big backpack on my back and a small one on my front. And on this narrow bridge, this man coming at me reached inside and grabbed my tit on the way across, and that
man.
just pretty much set the bar for the entire place. Beautiful city, right on the river, but like our perception when people in LA are like, namaste. It's not like that there.
Not at
They don't
all.
grab a tit when they do it.
Yeah, but like literally all the namaste. It's hello. So like if I was to say hello to you, that shit drives me
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
So, but I did find myself in that window of time, I got exposed some of the greatest highs and greatest lows I would have in one day. You would have the most amazing smell or taste or vision of something like some beautiful shade of pink that I'll never see again. And then you'll have the most depressing moment of your life where you'll see a child just like crippled in the street and people
Yeah.
just walk, or a dog that people just kick. And you're like, wow, how can I? So yes, it fundamentally changed me and made me a better person.
Well, it's just the poverty there is different than poverty here.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a whole other level.
There's like a dead body on the street. You like literally like dead people just die everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, and
It's
then,
abject poverty, and what people, and then what you're saying is like you could have a beautiful experience 1 minute and just basically walk outside and see all these horrendous things.
no, it
The
was
highs
so
and lows of humanity.
so
Yeah, exactly.
surreal. One of the greatest things, and I say great. Okay, I have a few great stories, but like that are just so fucked up. That you're like, what? So the guy that I traveled with ended up dating him, and he was Israeli, and he was very sweet. But then we didn't have he spoke a lot of English, and I didn't speak any Hebrew. But we were able to communicate and laugh about things, and we would find humor. But one of the things that we kind of joked about for the rest of our trip was we were in one town, I don't remember the name, and there was a beggar, a woman. It was right outside of our hotel, so we couldn't avoid walking past her every day. And I would walk past, and I would say, she doesn't have a nose, Gil. And he would go, no, she has a nose. And I go, no, there's just like 2 holes where her nose would be. There's like no cartilage. And he goes, no, there is a nose. She has a nose. So we would walk past her for like 5 days, and I'd be like, and we'd have this debate. Like, I'd be like, no, I swear to you, like, look closer. There's nothing there. And then after that, like, few days, we would go on about our trip. And randomly, I would be like, we'd have an argument, but it was a joke. I'd be like, there was no nose. And he'd be like, no, I knows. And we would laugh about it. Like, it would become a funny thing because where in your life will you ever have an argument about
whether a nose exists or not?
We can do it right now. She didn't have a nose and then argue with me.
She did have a nose.
No.
It was a nose.
No nose. No.
I saw a nose.
No, there's just 2 holes where there would be a nose.
That's a nose.
No, it's not. Like,
It's a
I don't think
nose.
she could smell through that. Like, there's just 2 holes. Like,
If there's holes, you can smell. No?
There's like space. There's space where a nose should be.
but there's no nose. And then I realized
It's like a placeholder.
right, it could be a nose, but like I just realized
plumbing.
that journey, like I will never not have a nose. So how great, like no matter how bad my day is, it will never be like I will never be a baker in India without a nose. God, like knock on wood.
Yeah, that should be the new hashtag blessed. Hashtag I will never not have a nose.
I will never not have a nose.
That's the
Hashtag,
maybe
I
the
have a
episode
nose.
title.
I will never not have a
I will
nose.
never not.
I feel like that's like tempting fate.
Oh my goodness. Let's not try that.
I think in Hollywood, a lot of people don't
Have a nose. Yeah, you can't. Like, it's just a
just
cavity.
different,
It's just-
yeah.
And look what I can do. I can put this cloth all the way up there.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Yeah, a whole
goodness.
different reason. Like leprosy ate her nose
So
or something.
4 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
Last time I was in India, I went was like 10, 11 years ago. How about you guys?
2 years ago.
Wow.
I've never been to India. I've been to Pakistan.
Pakistan.
I'm still waiting for a visa to India.
But
But,
last time you went to Pakistan?
I went in summer 2014. So
4 years.
a little over 4 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I still haven't recovered, I think, emotionally and mentally from that trip.
From the poverty.
yeah.
Well,
It's-
there was an incident.
There was a lot of things going on during that trip when I went. Like the Taliban attacked the airport when we were there. We weren't allowed
Do you have family
out.
there? Or?
Yeah, I have extended family there. My mom's sister still like has a house there, so she goes back every summer. I don't know. It's just such a unstable place. And of
go
course,
every
people in
It's your-
Pakistan who are
my
listening
summer
to this.
home.
Yeah.
Like, well, yeah, I guess, I mean, you got to put up with a lot.
And then-
vacation. there.
It's not a vacation. It's
No.
like she lived there. She lived there, and then she immigrated. She immigrated here, but like the way the immigration system works here is that like you don't necessarily get to immigrate with your whole family, right? So like families are broken apart, for a better life in America. So like her husband was still there, running his doing his having his career
Wow.
there. So she just went back every summer when the kids had off, and just took the kids and went back for the summer. And if there was like any sort of weddings or events, like the extended family from America would go back and like stay with them. And, while you're there, there's, the Taliban's attacking the airport. There's like lockdowns going on all around the city. There's just crazy things happening. But
Did you really fear for your life at some point?
I think the nature of just being there, being out and about, like it's kind of like a subdued fear of life always, because you never know what's going to happen. And you walk into the nail salon and there's like, military with their AK-47s outside of the nail salon. It's just like a normal way of life in certain areas over
I'm just
there.
gonna go in here and get my nails done. Let's not get shot.
Yeah, but it's like,
Wow.
but they're military, so they're supposed to be keeping you safe. But isn't it weird? Like in this country, we've never ever thought about walking into a nail salon and worrying for our lives. You know, like
now it kind
Well,
of is happening.
sometimes I do, depending on the nail salon. And
yeah,
just an
I
infectious
do worry about
way.
infection. Like
Yeah.
this could this something enter my toe and
Right,
Yeah,
right.
could the Taliban creep in through like a
We forget
fungus.
we forget the amount of terrorist acts that
Yeah.
happen daily
yeah,
there, and that it's very tumultuous right now.
very much so.
I would be freaked out to go to Pakistan.
I was
I
definitely
don't think
freaked
they'd
out.
let me in, but
I mean, there's different.
they don't like Indians.
There's different parts of. There's different
there's that whole
neighborhoods.
thing, right?
She likes me, but
Yeah.
India and Pakistan don't get along.
Yeah, they don't like each other.
They don't like each other at all. It's just like it's just bad blood, and they've never recovered from it. And now they just they punish one or the other for trying to get into their country.
Well, it's like it is tribalism, but also there was like millions of people died when the partition happened. So it's like that only happened in 1947. Like members of our family remember it and remember like fleeing for their lives.
Now, I
So
have
it's-
this whole bit about Asians hating other Asians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very true.
Yeah, it's just funny because like most most Americans, like white people, Americans, I should say, don't really know that. Like until you've traveled and you go to India and you go, wait, the Pakistan and like, the closest I got was Amritsar, the temple.
Amritsar,
yeah, where
northern India.
I think like I always say, I think it's like people who look alike but are slightly different hate each other more because other people perceive them as the same. Yeah. It's like, and so that's why, you know, Pakistan and India hate each other. That's why I know that like there's a lot of, racism again from like Africans with black people because they don't want to be associated with them. And it's like, it's whatever you look like, but like you don't want to be associated with. There's extra hate for it.
Such a waste of time.
I know.
Yeah. It's crazyville. Like we're all kind of here together. That's the thing.
Well, not for long.
Yeah. Let's just keep on hating.
So any plans to go back to India?
I would love to go back. I would absolutely love it. I mean, I'd imagine it's changed a lot even since I've been there. I know that.
How long has it been?
Like 20 years at least.
It's changed significantly.
A lot.
Would you be our musical act on our facial recognition tour?
Yeah.
What?
We're looking for a musical act.
Seriously? Yeah.
That'd be so
we want to
fun.
bring the tour to India.
I would love to. In a heartbeat. I would love to. Yeah.
That would be fun.
I had a great time.
I also I love going back to India. I love Chennai. I love my family there. I love traveling in India. And it's like there are risks and stuff, but I really enjoy going back.
I love the city.
Yeah.
I love Mumbai.
I love the nature. All you have to do is
nature.
I'm taking my bag. I'm there.
Can we go to the jungle? I never get to go like into nature as much in India.
I don't know.
I kind of just want to go to Goa.
Like
I want to do.
I've been.
Okay.
I've been
Oh,
to
yeah?
Goa.
How was Goa?
And I've been to
Goa.
the Himalaya. I did in Nepal. I did the Annapurna circuit, which is like a 12-day trek in the Himalaya. But I also went to Manali, which is another hot spot. But Goa. So Goa is the beach town.
Yeah.
And and that
Beautiful.
was beautiful. I kind of wanted to go further south past Goa because it's still touristy.
Come to Chennai.
What's that?
Come to South India.
Like further south. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like there's a surfing like area that my cousins go to now. That's like a nonprofit for the village in the area.
Nice.
And it's like a teaching school, and they all just go surfing all the time. So now when I go back, I just go surfing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I just wanted to keep going further south because, you know, the food gets spicier and it gets a little more chill, I think. But I got as far as Goa and then ran out of money. That was the last stop before going back to Delhi. And I flew
Gets a little precarious.
I didn't fly out through Delhi. I flew out through, I just went blank.
Mumbai.
I don't know.
Bangalore.
What were
Is
you
that
gonna
like
say?
the other side? I don't know the geography.
Bangalore stuff, but
Yeah.
Just say I got in a little trouble up north.
Did you?
In the Himalayas? Yeah. A monkey tried to grab my hat.
No, monkey. I'm terrified of monkeys.
We had a little tete-a-tete.
No, I'm terrified of monkey. Like one of the.
They're very bold.
Oh,
there.
Did you get attacked by a monkey?
Sort of, yeah. Like, there's Simla is another town.
That's where we were.
Shimla,
That's
yeah.
where it happened. The monkeys are so aggressive.
So
there.
aggressive. Oh my god! This like it wasn't. Even, we were walking a beautiful city because it's
gorgeous.
European. Sort of the buildings from the British being assholes came in and made this beautiful city.
It's like a resort.
Yeah, but it's in the clouds, right?
Yeah.
So you see, it's gorgeous, and we're walking up this like basically up mountain, just checking out the town, and this gorilla thing. It was like a monkey, but it had like a black face and it was white fur and it was bigger than me. It was just coming down right at us, and it was like at us. And this guy Gil that I was with pushed me behind a wall, and the animal stopped and looked at him like almost eye to eye, just went and then scratched him and then kept running. But I mean, if the animal had wanted to, he could have beat the shit out of him. I mean, it was a big thing. And then so I gave him rabies shots for a few more weeks after that because you just don't know what the animal.
That's
so I had to give another person again, totally crazy things that happen when you're there. I had to give him rabies shots in his butt.
At the time, was it like a series of 7?
There you go. There's a butt song for you.
There we go.
I gave you rabies.
Like 7
in the
shots.
butt.
Yeah. I don't remember how many. But he was,
it was
a
like
medic.
a shit ton.
Yeah, no, he walked me how to do it because he knew how to do. He was a medic, so he's like, "This is how you give me the shot. So you mind doing this for me?" I was
That's
like, sure.
insane.
Yeah, no, the monkeys scare the crap out of me. So one messed with you. Would he take your backpack or something?
It tried to take my hat, and then
Did you take it
there's
back?
a little. Yeah, I took my hat back.
Did it attack you?
I mean, I got scratched.
Oh wow.
you
no.
got
Did
scratched.
you get the rabies shot?
Yeah.
You have to take rabies
That's
shots.
crazy.
That's why I asked how many there were then.
Oh, it's
There was
awful.
more. And it was interesting because before I went, when I was getting my vaccinations, the doctor, or when I was getting, because you have to get like a ton. They were like, do you want to get the rabies shots? And then if something does happen, you only need 3 instead of like 6 or 7 or whatever. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna, I'm not touching
catch
any
rabies.
animals. And then I got scratched.
And you were like,
you fight with a monkey.
But I like monkeys, though. I actually do like monkeys.
No, I'm
that one was just
terrified of them now, because that like everywhere at all the holy sites they have monkeys, and they're just aggressive.
Monkeys are everywhere.
Not all monkeys.
So there's a fun fact about monkeys in India. It's in certain cities, monkeys have become such a they're so overpopulated with monkeys that they've actually started giving birth control. To the monkeys. They're injecting birth control into the monkeys to try to regulate this population.
But India has done that with people before, so not the best at figuring out solutions.
Some of these, not a bad idea though.
It's not bad. No, it's like with we do with cats and dogs.
They get a hormonal monkey though. Birth control fucks me up, man. If you just
how do they remember to take their pills?
So mad.
That's true too.
And these monkeys
get fat and emotional. I don't know what's wrong. I just hate my life.
Have you seen that video of the drunk monkeys where they like drink the alcohol at a resort and then they're just like lying on the
that looks like fun. I want to watch that. That's cool.
There's also, I went to Bali and there's like a monkey forest, and the monkeys there are like bold as well, but they're like nicer. But I still, like, all the Indian people were like, nah. And the Australians were like, yeah, climb all over me. We were like, no, what are you doing?
I really do love monkeys. And
they're amazing.
And there's a lot of TV shows that follow sort of, I don't want to say civilizations of monkeys, but societies of monkeys that live in the city. And they've been there for generations and generations, and they know where to go for food, and they communicate. So
they're cool. They're just terrifying.
I could see them showing up for birth control, honestly. Like, sign me up. Like, it's hard to feed all these kids.
Oh my goodness.
Do you see like the women are just like, he said he would pull out and he didn't.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
There's actually a comedian, he was telling me about his trip to India. He went to this rooftop restaurant in Delhi where they gave him his food and they gave him a BB gun. And he's like, well, what is this for? He's like, it's to shoot the monkeys because there's a lot of monkeys. And he was
if
like,
they come
okay.
up to eat your food while you're sitting there?
Yeah. So then he thought nothing of it. And then as he was eating, he was like literally being attacked by I think he ended up shooting 30 monkeys. During this meal.
During this meal. Restaurant.
Yeah.
What are we doing,
Go
humanity?
eat indoors.
There's nothing you can do if you have a rooftop restaurant and
then
monkeys
put
just
a
hang.
fucking roof on it.
I think
Stop
monkeys
hurting
just find their way in. I don't know.
It's like they have a mosquito problem.
That's wild.
It is wild.
This is
crazy
like the New York muggings is just like getting attacked by a monkey in India is like a similar story.
Yeah, so
welcoming you to
30
India.
monkeys.
He counted 30 monkeys, and then when he left, he didn't leave a tip because he's like, I just got rid of 30
monkeys would have taken it anyways.
I guess so. I don't know.
That's terrible. I would go someplace else. I don't
I'd be so traumatized.
You see the craziest stuff though, and it's so else. But for them, it's just normal. They're like, shoot the monkey. You're like, what? What do you mean, shoot the monkey?
There's no PETA in India. I don't think there's a.
No, there is. There is? Yeah. There's how there's Red Cross here, right?
Yeah.
I think there's something called Blue Cross because I was in India and like my friend, like we donated to it and stuff because they take care of like the stray dogs and cats and stuff. They try to they're starting to do that more, caring for like
I hope so because there's it's funny. There's 2 dog stories, but like I saw like the dogs just get treated like shit all the time. Like here our dog like I got this free thing I won in a competition for my dog to get acupuncture, and she was old, and so I actually got
I love that though.
my English. Like she's like an English bulldog, and she was like in a lot of pain when she was older. So literally, like I was like, we can get her acupuncture for free. Why not? But I'm doing it. It's so surreal because dogs everywhere else in the world are food. Like I'm like, here's but it's so surreal in that like they have a celebration there one day of the year where the dogs are like wrapped in flowers and they feed them food. I don't know. It was a holiday. Like they have 5 days of holidays, and one day they celebrate different animals.
Hindu
maybe
tradition?
I don't know what that is.
I was there for
also like the Hindu traditions like changed like depending on where you are.
Well, I was there when they were celebrating the dogs.
I've heard of that though.
These dogs were so confused because all year long.
Hate us.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden they're walking around. They're like,
it's like Mother's Day. They're like finally getting appreciated.
This is the love addiction dynamic that we were talking about earlier.
You know,
but it gave me flowers, and they love me so much, and it's just like. Oh my God. Okay. So this is kind of switching
Wait,
gears.
we were talking about love addiction before
you came in.
Okay.
But I have one quick dog story from India to tell you guys before.
Let's hear it.
Because this was the one story that like for all of like that's just sort of one of those things that like this is sort of one of those things that happens to you and you're like, this represents so much about life and my life in general, about how like fucking miserable somebody or something could be on this planet. And thank God it's not me. So I'm in a bus stop and I hear like horrific screams coming from inside the bus, like just horrible cry scream from this dog. And I don't see the dog at first. I just hear the screams. And what it is the dog is walking through this place and everybody who she comes up to is kicking her. And they're kicking her because in a place where she's got a bloody wound on the side of her body. And I just see this and I'm like, oh my God, how could life be any worse than being this dog that she's going to die. She's got this infectious wound on the side and all these people are kicking her. And then along comes a bigger dog and he fucks her. He's fucking her while she's crying and trying to get away. So now she's walking while she's getting humped and it was just one of those moments where I was like, holy shit, how could life get any worse?
Yeah. And it did.
And it did.
Aww.
So like, I know you're horrified. I don't mean to seem like I am too.
Cats and dogs are like, animals in general, I'm like very
oh my God, no,
about.
Me too. I wish like there was something I could do because there's nothing you can do. Yeah. And I'm just like, oh my God, could life get any worse than this right now? Like, nope. Like all of a sudden she's getting like humped too. And you're just like, wow, here we are. So
I'm like
crying.
I know. I have a real thing for animals.
No, me too. I'm sorry I made to make you cry.
No, it's fine.
But it's
it's
sad.
healthy to cry. Get it out.
I love animals so much. I have a little dog at home, so I'm like, no.
Oh no, I've always had animals too. And that's just crazy though that we like our animals are like our babies. But anyway, I'm sorry. Now I feel terrible.
Well, it's because I feel like there's such a human responsibility to take care of them because we fucked them up so much over like thousands of years, you know? Like we bred them into like not being able to like take care of themselves. I need to give you a hug. I'm sorry. No, it's okay.
You didn't cry over the noseless woman.
No, I didn't.
But the dog.
It's because I think I attribute more innocence to animals because they can't like help their circumstances.
She had no nose.
No, not her. I'm talking about.
She did have a nose.
She did. She had a nose.
She kind of had a nose.
It was there.
No, there were just holes where, and then she was getting.
But she could breathe out of it.
No, but then she was getting.
We're mixing up our stories now.
I love how dark you are.
In the nose. She was getting humped in the nose.
Oh my
Thank
God.
you for now. All of a sudden, I've stopped crying. But somehow that worked.
But she doesn't have a nose. So how is she getting humped in the nose?
No, he's fucking her in the hole that was her nose.
Oh my God. Wow.
It's just another hole.
I thought though.
Wait, are you sure we don't want to name this? It's just another hole.
I really thought the nose hole was safe from humping, but I guess not. I thought that was the one hole.
Moving on. Love addiction. Let's go to love addiction.
I didn't cry on the lady because I feel like I attribute like
she could have ran away.
Guilt. No, I don't. Her situation is like horrifying, but I feel like when it comes to animals, like humanity has really like hurt them, and I feel like humanity hurts people too, and they also but there's still some blame in humanity, so it's like hard for me to separate it.
The whole thing's fucked. So yeah.
Anyways, you mean the hole or the
everything? The nose. A lot of holes are fucked.
It's
apparently.
the nose.
Not mine, right now.
Holes.
Oh God, let's go to love addiction fast.
Speaking of holes getting
that's
fucked,
more romantic than holes.
Getting fucked.
Let's go to our first world issues. Let's move away from these like
love addiction.
So I actually
Transition.
did her.
Okay.
I did her podcast. It was a Perfect 10 podcast.
Perfect 10 podcast.
Yeah, and we talked a lot about sex and love addiction because I think this was, so for the listeners who don't know, Lahna is the widow of Ralphie May. But he hadn't passed at that time. And sex and love addiction, which I've actually had an experience with for years and years of acting out in that way, is really, 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 really tough. And it's insidious, and it's easy to sort of identify, okay, this person's using cocaine or drinking alcohol or whatever. But when someone's acting out in that way, it's really dangerous. So that came up. I don't remember what you were going through, but it was at the Comedy Store, and we were all in the green room sitting with Eric Myers.
Right. when we started talking about it, I was like, this is crazy.
Eric
fascinating.
Myers is a really funny comedian as well. Go look him up.
So
Yeah,
funny.
he's
Florida.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
boy.
I was so interested because I feel like maybe we all have a little bit of that. Well, I mean, there's definitely a need for love and attention for our purposes in being in comedy. I mean, it's an insatiable appetite for approval from a room full of strangers. So then when you take that out of there and then try and add actual intimacy with a partner, it would be almost logical to assume there's an issue with all of us here. Hello, ladies.
Yes.
Hello, fellow comedians.
We have issues.
Like attracts like, right? So it's just that's how I sort of determine where I'm at. Is I look at the people I'm attracted to, and I'm like, oh, okay, I need to meditate or some shit.
I really glad I'm not dating right now, considering the people I've been
drink green
attracted
juice.
to.
I don't know.
Drink green juice. That's the answer to everything.
Literally, somebody posted that on my wall the other day.
Yeah.
It's like,
In
what?
LA,
Just any green
in
juice?
LA, that is the answer to everything. Have you tried drinking more green smoothies?
Yes. Having a acai bowl, it'll make everything better. It does, though, actually. You feel much better after.
Yeah, kale smoothies do make me feel better.
Cleanse.
Yeah, sure.
Cleanse your system.
Sure.
Yeah. We have, you know what? We have such a good life here that, like, compared to what we're talking about, like, I have the opposite problem. Oftentimes I'll minimize my problems based on the fact that I feel like I'm so blessed living here.
Yeah.
But so like I try not to let little things, but I mean, I've had some major shit go down and I still try and minimize it as much as possible. I gotta stay happy.
You know, like,
gotta stay good.
Lana, like, you know, I think we have the luxury to have existential issues in this country. Just sort of like going back to the India thing. Like if you're, you know,
if you don't have a nose,
if you're dying on the street with or without a nose, it's like, you know, you're not going to really be pining over somewhere or trying to fill a certain void. You're going to try to deal with the
dating
issue
is hard in Delhi.
Oh my gosh,
so hard.
I'm pretty sure a comic in India is doing that bit right now, probably.
Can you though come back in another life and cure your love addiction issues? If you get another chance at that?
I mean, you might keep doing it with the same person if they, you know, the same
or
guy
the same dog
or the same
You might come back as that.
Oh yeah, that might.
Yeah.
Who knows what they were?
Yeah, seriously, right? Why would you ever kick a dog if you could come back as that dog?
What a tragic and poignant moment.
People don't practice what they believe.
No,
So
that's true.
What could be worse?
or what they
than
claim to believe.
Then to come back as that?
That is also how they taught us this. So there's this like Punjabi dancing called Bhangra, where they
Oh my God.
the way that they teach you how to do it is to screw a light bulb and kick the dog.
Really?
Yeah, screw the light bulb and kick the dog. Like that's like a common like phrase.
PETA's going to try to shut
And
down
how to-
Bhangra now.
Yeah, it's just a common occurrence.
Just don't get confused and screw the dog and kick the light bulb.
Yeah.
I guess so. I don't know.
That's amazing.
I think people starting to have more pets, like
Yeah.
dogs as pets.
Yeah.
in
But
India.
they also are using it as a sign of class, and so they're getting pets, like getting giant like dogs with full coats in like the hottest parts in India because they can afford it, and it's a sign of
they can maintain.
they're
money
starting to
and
catch up
feed
to
more.
America in that way.
Right.
But anyways, okay. It seems like we were trying to go back to
Sorry.
love addiction.
Love addiction, but we keep
So-
going back to the.
I mean, it's all
It's such a graphic image in my mind right now.
everything's all connected.
Screw the bulb, kick the dog.
That's exactly how it is actually. Good job.
I just can't believe that poor dog, like that was getting kicked, ended up like what you literally asked, how can this get worse? And the dog got raped.
Yeah, then it started. Then
While it was
another dog
walking.
came up and was humping it, and then it,
Do you think it's consensual for any female dogs?
to have.
I mean, it had an open wound. If you can assume like a
Well,
dog's not in the mood.
Yeah, but if you think
what
about
was
it,
the dog wearing?
Is it
An
consensual?
open wound?
Is it ever-
Very
I can answer
scandalous?
that. I can answer the consensual
okay,
part.
so it is
Because
consensual with dogs.
As a little girl, my grandmother had a black poodle named Duchess.
Okay.
And Duchess really liked my sister and it would hump her nonstop, like every time. And I was so jealous because I thought Duchess liked my sister more than she liked me. But she was just humping my sister like nonstop.
Power move.
So I think that she was dominating my sister, but there was definitely an attraction of some kind. Like that dog was horny or something.
It was getting
Got it.
off. A
yeah.
little bit.
So maybe I don't know if I'm if all dogs want it, but Duchess wanted it. And
Okay, good to know.
And like I said, I was so envious. I was like, Duchess doesn't like me, but I'm glad now in hindsight, like she really liked my sister.
Now I know.
Male and female dogs like hump for power.
Is that
too.
yeah?
That's
Do
part
we
of
hump for power?
I'm trying. Wait, that's going to be the name of our book, Hump for Power.
Hump for power. As opposed to like Trump.
Goodwill humping.
Good. Do we though?
That's probably
there's
a porn.
some power in
I
humping.
think, I mean,
There's always a power struggle when
we
you're
definitely use our femininity sometimes to advance in things or to manipulate in our relationships and stuff.
Somebody had a joke about how like women when they're fucking will say, like guys will be like, do you like that, blah blah blah, and women will be like, did you miss me, did you like what, like stuff like that. That's like more of like about them and their like control over the guys, like in terms of personality and stuff, like the way people talk in bed to each other.
like, did you miss me? Like when you weren't,
did you miss this? Did you miss like, you know what I mean? Like it was like, are you emotionally attached to me and my pussy?
That was the woman's concern.
Yeah.
And whereas the male was, what type of validation was he looking for?
I think I forget exactly what the joke is, which is an awful way to repeat it. But he was basically like yeah, like you guys know typical male.
It was carnal. It was carnal.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was.
There's such a foundation, like physical foundational issue between a penis and a vagina that's so like base. Like it just doesn't even. There's no comparing. Like as a vagina, you're like, oh, you want to come in you want to, okay, well just take off your shoes before you you didn't take off your shoes, oh god, and then you're gonna sit on my couch, you're gonna put your feet up on my table, all right, and you're like, but a penis is just like, I'm coming in, like there's no
do you not okay,
do I not?
Sometimes now I'm figuring out where I am on the sex spectrum, I guess. But are you never like just get in there? Are you like that urgency of like,
like if you're with somebody and you want to be with them, for sure, but I just feel like the actual act of receiving versus giving, I had this like, actually on my podcast I had an epiphany because I've always wanted a penis because I think it would be amazing to have one.
I think it would be fun.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great?
You just stick it in a bunch of things.
Like, yes, but I went in deep for this, pardon the pun, because I was like, well, who would I want to fuck with my penis if I had one? And I really did a lot of self-exploring. And I realized I would want to fuck a man.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
And I'd have to be a heterosexual man because
just for the power.
No, because I'm attracted to men. Like I would love to be attracted to. I'm attracted to women, but I've never been with a woman, and I've had opportunities. It just hasn't really not because I don't love the idea, but it just isn't what I'm attracted. But I'm attracted to men, so I would fuck a man.
Have you considered pegging?
What's that?
Ooh, fucking a dude with a strap on.
No, because there's no guy that I've been with that would want that.
Cross your fingers, baby.
And I don't think that would do it for me because
out there is into pegging.
It's not. You want an actual dick.
Oh, I'd want to feel like what it's like to have a dick.
That would be fun.
That seems like it would be awesome, and I'd want it uncircumcised
and like past puberty, so it's not just popping up.
No, prepubescent puberty, and not a little dick. We don't need like a clit dick.
I think all women imagine that they'd have a big dick. We're all like, my dick. If I had a dick, it would be big.
I think all men imagine that they had a big dick.
Yeah,
I don't know one man who doesn't think he has a big dick.
No. I'd be measuring from the base under the balls all the way to the end. And
I definitely
stop reaching for the magnums. You guys know you don't.
Oh
need
my
it.
god!
Jesus.
It's just like there's so much air.
There's definitely men.
Like way to give someone queef.
There's men out there. There's men out there who are self-aware enough to know that they were just not fortunate enough to get a big dick.
But then
you really
those men use it right.
No, I just know men who suffer from this condition, and
who are these people, and how can we help them?
You know what? I want to.
It seems like they're helping themselves. They're self-aware. They know how to use their mouths where they need to.
There you go. They figured it out.
I think it's
sometimes big dicks they just don't know how to work them.
Well, okay, I'm not a dick expert or connoisseur. I haven't been with that many men. I was married for 17 years. I met my husband early, but I've been with a few guys, and I feel like it's more important, like what it's attached to. And I know that sounds really, but
that's so sweet.
Having a nice. But I mean, I definitely want like a good. But if it's a good man, like you will.
Yeah.
It's I think if it's a good man, you'll be happy, but if it's a good dick, you could be so fucked.
happy.
So
much happy.
So unhappy, because if it's good dick and you don't want to give it up, your life could be ruined.
Oh no,
This is
yeah,
true.
you can't break up with a guy with a big dick. I have a bit about that because you can't be like, get out of here with your big dick. Go on, leave, take all of it, take all that dick and go. But
Seriously, what, like the things you'll put up with.
Yeah, their lives have been ruined
And
over
it's
big
not,
dicks.
and it's not just like, I think we need to clarify. Big is not just length. Girth is probably
is
more
also important.
It's more important, I think.
no, okay, so like I said, I haven't been with very many men, but like I was with a guy very briefly, and it was too much, and it wasn't good. It was too big.
Yeah, I mean,
I couldn't do.
I don't want like a
couldn't have
baby's
it.
leg.
No, don't. I don't need. It would hurt, and it was
Yeah.
too much. So like no, and like what you said too. It's got.
You got to know how to use it.
Yeah.
And not all sizes fit, but I just wonder how it affects a man's self-esteem to know that he has a below average sized penis. That seems so sad.
I feel like it is sad, but I feel like women suffer from like feeling not enough all the time, and all of that is on display. Like our tits, our ass, our body type, our like what our face looks like. Like that's what we're judged off of, and men can see that right away. And we like it's a surprise package, and they already have us in bed. So it's like.
Yeah, I don't feel bad for men with small dicks. I really don't. I don't.
I mean, a lot of them are assholes.
Well, I mean, it's a Napoleon complex.
Yeah.
I've also seen big dicked dudes that
So
are
if you're an
assholes.
asshole,
Yeah, I don't know
I'll just
enough
assume
of-
you have a.
I haven't been with enough guys to say for sure, but I feel like there's a yin for your wong. Like
Yeah.
wang for your wang. There's a yin.
Yeah.
There's a vagina
a dick of your dreams
to match every dick. Like it doesn't seem like
or
There's a
asshole
vagina out there.
or
Or whatever.
vagina to vagina. We're not.
yeah. Like,
Or a mouth or a nose. I don't know. Whatever.
we're back to the nose.
Sorry.
It's the not nose.
It's the not nose.
don't
There's
know.
a
Fizz is staying strong on
Oh
this.
my goodness.
yeah. No, I like that you said that though. Like there's something for everybody.
Yeah.
I feel that
Yeah.
way, and I do think
Or a
when we
fleshlight.
get back to love.
Or nothing for for aces, asexual people.
Yeah,
Right.
sure.
Well, when you talk about love addiction, though, like I feel very strongly I could fall in love with somebody and be with them forever, and his dick might not even work. It's just because this is like the most amazing person. And I don't know if that's love addiction, but that's definitely like wanting.
I was definitely in a long-term relationship where I compromised in the sex department. And after I
too.
got out and I had like great sex for like a few months with this bang buddy of mine, I was like, I am never doing that again. I'm
had that
never fucking compromising on this again. Cause it made not only, it may have been a difference in, like, sex drive or whatever, and that's not anybody's fault, but I felt so trapped in the relationship because I wasn't being satisfied. That made me feel physically like unattractive or undesired or undervalued, and I realized what I value in a relationship. And in romantic relationships, I value like a sex drive. I value someone who matches. You have to be compatible.
Yeah, you don't
at
want to
whatever
settle.
level you're at. So that's something where I was like, that's not
so
something
smart
I'm
and
ever
so
compromising
true.
ever again.
You're so right. You're so right.
It's like, who wants to marry a guy that like
End
for the
of
rest of your life?
sentence.
Yeah. Who wants to marry? That's.
I'm kidding.
Well, I mean, really
that's
though.
so true.
Well, I mean, I'm just starting to get carpal tunnel for masturbating, so maybe I need to marry.
Yo,
a guy
my
that-
elbows.
I see why people get married now, but
Why don't you just use a battery operated device?
I mean,
it's
fingers
less
are
pressure on
more
your
fun.
hands.
I love a natural type of person.
Cool. Yeah.
I mean, there's
Organic.
There's a vibrating cock ring, but I don't need the penis.
What do you mean? Oh, you just use the
Finger. Yeah, I don't want to get into. I don't know if my
This is
parents
getting
are
very
into that
graphic.
shit. It's
I like what you said though, because it's true. Because I was in a marriage for a long time that was not physical for a long, long time, and I was very
So
lonely in that.
painful, and it feels
Yeah.
so like
But-
there is an intimacy in that that you can't find with anyone else, and then you feel like you're betraying that person
Yeah.
and you are and
Because you
it's-
do love them, but
Yeah.
it's just not a sexual thing anymore.
It's more like best friends.
Yeah, yeah,
Know when they're your best friend and when they're your partner.
yeah. Well,
yeah. See,
different
that's
purpose for the
Yeah.
relationship. I can see that.
that's tough when the boundaries get blurred. I feel like I have some situations in my life where the boundaries are blurred, and it's just like. Also, I think it's important to remember that just because I stayed in some relationships for too long because I felt beholden. I didn't want to hurt the person, but I wasn't doing anyone a favor by not walking away.
Right. Not yourself, not them.
Yeah. And actually our relationship improved once, we reset and had our boundaries. It was different. But like I stayed stuck in a relationship for a really long time because it was like a limb at that point. First long relationship, I didn't know what to do.
Well, you'll never have that problem with the cock ring in your fingers.
I know.
Yeah, well, unless it gets
Mom.
stuck, it could get also stuck.
Yeah, you could have a long-term problem.
Yeah.
No. So funny.
I know the next day I was like, my arm hurts. And I'm like, oh.
For a while there, I was alone for a really long time. And I was like really heavily relying on my vibrator and I was watching a lot of porn. And it's becoming a problem. Like I had to stop. And then interesting, when I stopped, it opened up other avenues for finding love and sex and
So you said you were in a marriage for 17 years and for a lot of it, you weren't physical and it felt lonely.
We were physical, but we were very physically different. So like he was not my physical ideal by any stretch. So it was challenging. Yeah. Like my husband was very fat. So yeah, you guys know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We remember Ralphie.
Yeah.
He was great.
He was great.
Yeah.
He was very sick too. It wasn't just the weight. Like he was abusing a lot of substances towards the end of his life. So if you're on that much oxycodone, then you're not really present in your life of your wife or children. And then there was a lot of other things that went down over the years before he left. He actually left me. And then he died like a year and a half, almost 2 years later. So he was on a pretty bad spiral. But the 7 years prior to that, when he got hooked on the pain pills, he'd had a really bad health issue, which he had pulmonary embolisms. And then he stopped smoking weed and got on all these other things. And it was just like a tough 7 years of like, in that 7 years, there was 11 hospitalizations and rehabs.
Oh,
so it was literally like every 4 to 6 months, there was another trip to the hospital.
Wow.
So yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of good fucking or anything like that. And that was always, like I said before when we started, that I think you can fall in love with somebody. And I fell very much in love with him despite his weight and size. He was a beautiful human being.
Yeah.
But a lot of that changed after he got on. Like he was not mentally the person he was that I married at some point, but I would never have left him. And so when you said some of that stuff about separating yourself, I found myself to be a lot happier. It took me about 6 months after he left me, but then I realized I was not happy for a long time in that marriage, even though I loved him. And I held on to the idea that he would eventually get sober and we would eventually get him to a healthy place, but he didn't want that.
Yeah.
That's so hard. I can't imagine like,
There has to be a willingness.
Yeah. You want to be the support for the person. You're their family, but they have to make that choice because otherwise, they're an adult. They can find these things on their own. And it's got to be so painful to watch.
It's the addiction thing. It's like a very, very painful dynamic and it's common. It's so common. I've experienced it in my own family. I've had my own experiences with it. And it's so like you have kids.
Yeah.
You have 2 kids and they're pretty young.
They were very young and he was not capable of being in their lives. I mean, we tried a lot, but I mean, he would pass out, like literally pass out on them. And
Like while he was taking care of the kids?
yeah,
Wow.
like he'd be sitting in a chair and there's 2 little babies and he'd just fall asleep because he's a heavy man. He was tired from being a heavy person. And then you mix substances into that. And yeah, he could not stay awake at times. And yeah, it was pretty harsh.
How old are they now?
Now they're 9 and 11. So
what do you think he was trying to cope with? Because I mean, I think we're all just trying to feel okay, but
I mean, look, that was something he never explored. Otherwise, he probably would not have been that ill. I mean, I can speculate from knowing him, but there was a lot of things I've uncovered over the years since we were not together that were not his truth. Because it's interesting when you're with somebody, how few people will tell you certain things until you're no longer with them. And then all of a sudden you find out, oh, that wasn't the case. Like that car wreck isn't how it happened. And a lot of things came up, and then I don't know. He was very sick, but a beautiful human being too. I always have to emphasize that because I fell in love with somebody who I adored, but he was very sick from the day I met him. And it's interesting. Probably the craziest thing is what's about to happen. So the 9 months before he left me, we did a documentary.
Oh.
And he was wanting to get the lap band surgery, which I was against because he'd already had gastric bypass. And then even before that, he'd had a stapling. And the idea of any more like, this isn't an issue of making your tummy smaller. Like you could put duct tape over your mouth. It's not going to matter. Like these are mental issues. But he was so, I was, at that point, I was like, you're going to die. Like you have to get the weight off your body. So if you want to, if you can stop eating for a year, that will extend your life greatly. So he started the process and we turned on the camera. And this woman, I don't know, do you know Kat Reinhardt? And she's a comic.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Kat's a brilliant filmmaker. She's an amazing woman. One of the most intelligent, sweet, smart women, like just amazing. So she came on the road. We bought all the gear and started filming him. And in the 9 months, what was so great about it is that I got to reflect on how sick I was in this scenario because I was adamant that he lose the weight. I was adamant there was no other option in my mind. And I would have, it's a really...
Well, because you cared so much and you were hoping it would
anybody, like I've had to learn what you said, which like you can't, there's nothing you can do. It has to be their decision. But in my mind, it wasn't his decision. He's got children and we've got this life.
And that can sort of be the sex and love addiction is having these expectations of someone that can't be met.
Oh,
wanting like,
without a doubt. All of this is on camera. Like it's all in this movie that we're in final post-production on. I say we, Kat is, because I'm a subject, I'm not creatively in control. I'm just helping make sure that it all gets done and how we talk about things through it. But it's been crazy to be able to go back and watch that year of my life and realize what my role was in his addiction and how sad and unhealthy I was too, and how much better it was for me to get out of that place. And it was really hard, but there's a film about it and it's a good film. Like it will come out, like it's the saddest comedy documentary you will ever see.
Yeah. I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah.
You will see it.
I do miss Ralphie May a lot.
Yeah.
It's sad. No, he was my husband and he was really, really talented and he made a lot of really good, like did a lot of wonderful things for a lot of people in his life. And he was tortured also, which a lot of great artists are. But he's going to give this one last gift, I think. I think it's a gift because it's going to help a lot of people to be able to see how his struggle, like I would hope that there's going to be people who watch it and recognize both of our perspectives, which is one, if you're sick, like there are options, like you don't want to go down that road because it only goes one way. And then the other side of it is for me, like you want to pluck me out of that. And I think a lot of people who are in that situation don't realize that they can be powerful and remove themselves, which I did not.
You can take your power back.
It's just so hard because you feel like if you're leaving the situation, you're abandoning the person, but you like didn't have control in the first place. So
he left me too.
Yeah.
That was the crazy part. He like pushed me out, which actually was a huge but then
I mean, there's a saying, rejection's protection.
Well, I thought about that for a long time, but then he got really mad at me afterwards. Then I became...
Because you didn't go back? Was he expecting you to come back?
I don't think so. I don't know. I feel like having somebody to blame is a lot easier. There was never going to be, I'm going to take responsibility for this. Like
it's a type of acting out.
I don't know.
The anger stage.
It's really hard for me to register why somebody would be so angry at somebody for trying to help them, but he didn't want help. So I don't know. I think it's part of the whole addiction.
I mean, it's threatening his existing coping, even though it's maladaptive. It's coping. Like with an addiction, you feel like you can't live without it. Like I need this or death.
I'm sure he felt like that 1,000%. I mean, he coped through. Well,
it's a very desperate feeling.
He pretty much was abusing everything towards the end of his life. I mean, I now can reflect back and know. I mean, he'd always abused food, which is obvious. That was the thing I used to say. It's even a quote in the documentary. How can he feel like he's not an addict? Like he wears his addiction.
Yeah.
And food addiction, that's like a really hard one. It's very, very complicated.
It's just everywhere and you don't like you have to have some of it to survive and you can't, it's really hard to control.
Yeah. No, really.
And it's sort of like, in my experience with addiction, and I know I've heard this from a lot of people, but it's sort of like a game of whack-a-mole. Like you get one under control and something else pops up.
Oh, that's
like,
great.
I stopped drinking and now I'm eating donuts.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just interesting. Or like, you know, or I'm working really late, or I'm, you know, it's just finding like a healthy way to channel that shit. And
Oh my gosh,
it's constant readjustment.
Talk about whack-a-mole, though, when you're like famous too, and the people now that pop up that are like, you can do whatever you want. Oh, here you go.
There's
I
a lot of
bought
yes
oxycodone
men.
for
There's
that.
a lot of yes men
here's your
around you.
Oh my God, he had a payroll of people around him that would give him whatever he wanted. It was gross. I mean, and these people,
enablers.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when he died,
does anyone have any regrets about that now? I mean,
I don't know. I don't
had a hand in the end.
I don't talk to those people, but he literally had $280 in his bank account. I mean, these people were like,
oh my
awful.
God.
Awful. Like they encouraged him to continue like this, like to not be in the, like it was just, yeah. And he had a guy that came into his life who claimed to be his manager. This guy is not a manager. He owns a small share of some of the improv clubs. Club owner, failed comedian. He stepped into his life as his life coach.
Wow.
Now, this is a fat pig of a person, in my opinion. Like, just not a nice person to be a life coach. Like, get your own, like, that's not, and first of all, if you're going to be a life coach, don't you have to, like, study something?
Life coaches are a dime a dozen in the entertainment industry.
Not a life coach. Okay, so you enter into his life under that guise. And I was like, okay, you guys are friends, whatever. But then he moves in as his man. Like, as soon as Ralph filed, this guy became his manager.
Oh, wow.
Filed for
divorce. As soon as we were out of the way, he became his manager. Now this guy,
a predator.
Yeah, and he sued the estate. So Ralphie dies. He sued the estate. So he's suing Ralphie's children. Like he didn't get enough when Ralphie was alive, so he has to sue. And they ran benefit shows that were not to benefit the children. They benefited them, like directly benefit. Like I couldn't believe. You're going to show what are you paying for your legal fees to sue the estate? So you're throwing a benefit show to sue with Ralphie's name to sell tickets, and then you're going to use that money to sue Ralphie. Is basically what they did. Crazy,
wow.
Yeah.
So you guys won, or the estate won?
Right now I think. The last I heard from my attorneys, he's walking away from it because there's nothing
that
to sue.
That is ridiculous.
That's so sad.
Yeah, but now there's legal fees because I had to go up against him.
It's so sad. Like it's definitely like who you surround yourself by or who happens to be in your life already to support you and pull you out of those situations and kind of like wake you up is like it's the biggest factor. There's so many people that are so much luckier just because of who they happen to, like the families they happen to have been born into. And like the people that they find around them. And it's just sad to see that like play out.
Yeah, no, I think like in any like the best thing that anyone could have done for him was just leave him alone and let him try and find sobriety, right?
Yeah.
But no, like by staying in there, you're like, they're just, here's more pain pills. Here's more food. Here, I'm going to bring you pizza and donuts and whatever you want. And then, I mean, he had a girlfriend that he got towards the end of his life. She was with him for 3 months and she got arrested. DUI, DWI, weed, paraphernalia, and a loaded handgun.
What?
Oh my God.
So like he left.
Crazy.
He left a marriage with 2 children and a wife that all she wanted for him was sobriety for that. She's like Tampa. No, she's from like Jupiter, Florida or something.
Florida.
Florida. She was like a fat waitress from Florida or something. I was like, what are you doing? She sold jewelry in a pyramid scheme. It's like, what are you doing? Like, this is what you want for your life? But she would bring him donuts, and I'm sure she got compensated financially.
Well, that's the thing, is he wasn't available for sobriety.
Right.
And that's, he couldn't show up.
I'm talking way too much.
No,
I mean, you're our guest.
You're our guest.
But he couldn't show up in that way in his life.
It wasn't him.
But then let's take it back to the whole thing. It's like I was part of that in some way. So I've had to do like a lot of self-reflection and figure out where my role is and then take it forward to hopefully having a healthier, future, because I don't want to do that again. So it's like,
What are some like nuggets that you found from self-reflection? What role do you feel like you played, or how do you think you're able to change?
Oh God, I feel like in hindsight, when I was unhappy, I mean, I was unhappy. I wish I'd been able to remove myself from it earlier because it wasn't healthy for me either.
Yeah.
But then there were children involved, and there was always, being the ever optimist, I always hoped that it would get better, and I still to this day want to believe it could have, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, that every moment's infinite potential. If he was here, then, you know, never write anyone off.
No, I would have loved that for us.
Yeah.
But you know what? You know what's great? And I'm going to find the positive in any negative, but because of it all, I'm a really, really good comic. I feel like I'm like a lot funnier than I was because when you go through stuff, it gives you something to talk about. And
you think that's really true that like trauma fuels comedy?
Look at all the comedians.
I know.
Yeah. I wouldn't wish for it. Like I guess it depends on what style of comedy too. I just know I went from kind of just trying, we were talking about it before we turned on the mics. I went from trying to get as many laughs as I could in a 10 minutes, how many jokes can I get, to actually talking about something that maybe somebody in the crowd might have a similar experience and come up after the show and want to give me a hug.
That's how I felt like your set at Flappers when we were on the same show really, really impacted me because it wasn't just funny. It was so like real and present and raw. And the crowd, it was, I think, an earlier show. And I don't think that they were responding necessarily well to like darker jokes from other comedians, but you were just like, this is what I have to say. This is what I'm feeling. And I'm going to sit in this truth with you. And you just like, it was an amazing set. And I was like, I have to know this woman. I remembered that set from that day.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I have to really think hard about learning through it all. Like I've come out of that situation and I still have, again, we'll go back to the whole India lesson. Like I have first world problems, even with all of that sadness and losing somebody that I loved dearly and my children's father. It's still, we're okay. And my kids are going to be okay. And I get to do jokes and hoping that I can continue to do just that for a living. And I'm hoping that's, but that's also a first world problem. Who the fuck gets to tell dick jokes and make a living at it? You know what I mean? Like that's the goal, right? So
yeah.
So
I like that. Sort of leaving it optimistic.
Yeah. Like gotta find the positive things even out of the hardest times. And look, I mean, he did what he wanted.
Yeah.
So that's something we can celebrate.
Everyone has to be allowed the dignity of their own choices.
Yeah. That's a beautiful thing to say.
Yeah.
Even if it is self-destructive, it's like it's still a choice. And that person has every right to live the life that they choose. So I try to remind myself of that when I'm going through it with family members or friends who are, acting out. It's because it's hard. You do want to quote unquote save someone, but you can't. They have to save themselves.
Yeah, like the dignity in those choices. The only thing that sucks about it is when it directly affected two little people. And so I wish in that regard that there wasn't a whole lot of dignity for that. But yes, I agree with you 1,000%.
He had responsibility.
Yeah, but
that's the whole.
But he did do what he wanted.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know. There's got to be a lot of pain in that, but he did it.
How are your kids doing?
They're good. I mean, they lost their dad, but there's so many good resources and programs. Again, living in America, first world stuff. Like there's something called Camp Aaron that they went to last summer. They're going to go for 3 years. Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
It's wonderful. Like every kid there has lost a parent or sibling, maybe a grandparent that they were super close to in the last 3 years. And
That's
they go
so cool.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm. And then there's Our House, which is another organization. So my daughter goes every 2 weeks to a group session where she sits with other kids it's a bereavement group. And then the Maple Center is like for therapy. We've all gone. There was a family for a year and a half where they do a therapy and they kind of look at what your income is and what you can afford. And so you can actually afford to go every week. And I've been really good about that. It's like, so there's resources that I was able to tap into.
So the kids are doing okay.
They're doing okay. Yeah, they're doing good. I mean, we have a nice community and support, and they go to a good school. But oh God, that's so sad. Like their ability to understand is so different. Like I thought my son understood because he found out. So it was like about 3 or 4 months after Ralphie had died. And I was talking to him and he goes, Mommy, do you remember when you told me Daddy was dead? And I go, yes, baby. And he goes, and I didn't cry. And I go, I know. And he goes, well, I was exploding on the inside.
Oh my God.
No, it gets worse. It gets worse. And then I go, I know, sweetheart. And he goes, when's he coming back?
Oh.
So I was like, oh my God, this child doesn't understand what death is. And so I had to explain. I was like, you'll never see him in his physical being again. And he just got very angry at that point. And he was angry for a long time. So that entered that phase of mourning. I know you're going to cry again.
I know.
Because it's the child, the innocent child.
It's the
innocence,
child and the animals. And,
it's really sad.
What stage of grief is that? Anger?
Well, you go in and out of the different stages too. I always thought, you process each stage and then you're out of it.
Yeah,
no,
they're not rigid.
It's just a cycle.
Cycle of different stages. And so,
process.
And different things pop up and then you can go back to like one of those feelings. Like I got angry this week because I was able to get into Ralphie's iPhone and I saw a video in there that made me really angry.
Yeah,
and
you brought that up.
Yeah, I
earlier.
did a bit about it tonight because and I was really excited I was able to do it on stage.
Clean the cloud.
Yes, clean your iCloud. That's the moral of that bit. Because when you, the bit, I just started doing it tonight. I was like, your grandmother always told you to clean your underwear before you don't go out and, clean your cloud because there's.
Clean those drawers, your private.
That's going to end up being like a funeral service. Is someone who's going to clean your cloud before. Yeah. It's like a Black Mirror episode.
Oh my God, was that Florida bitch? Was she in the phone?
It was a different Florida woman.
Oh my God.
It was a different.
I apologize on behalf of
Florida women
from Florida.
She was. This one looked actually like I don't want to sound like a mean petty woman, but this one really did look like a hooker. I wouldn't be surprised if she was a hooker.
Wow.
If not actually paid physical money, somehow she was compensated to be in the situation that she was in. Like there just was like,
Wow.
Yeah, she was very like painted up.
Got it. Clean your iCloud.
Yeah,
everybody.
Clean your cloud. Techies, clean. Get in there. Yeah, because Granny could find that video of you in your cloud.
Oh, man.
So should we do our Daisy questions?
Sure. At the end of the episode, we like to ask a couple questions of our guest. One of those questions is, who is your favorite South Asian celebrity?
Ooh. My favorite South. Are there that many?
That's what we're here to show.
I'm trying to see who might come. I mean, being in India, there was like a lot of like on every bus.
Bollywood.
And they're doing light bulb, kick the dog the whole way through.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We can name some.
Priyanka Chopra.
Hassan Minaj.
Frida Pinto. Mindy Kaling.
Harry Kondabalu. Cal Penn.
Okay, so Mindy's pretty awesome. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I haven't paid attention to the specifics.
It's a random question.
Cool.
It is a random question.
It's how we tie this all together.
You girls are my favorite.
And then the last question is, do you have any quote unquote dumb questions about our culture? And this is a safe space, so no judgment.
There's no dumb questions.
But you spent 4 months in India. That's.
Oh, but you know what? Okay. So this always blew my mind in when I was in India, and I don't know how to ask it as a question, but more as an observation. The newspapers, in the back of the newspaper, there's dowries where they're like, my daughter will come with a goat.
Dating apps.
But it was in the newspaper, like where you could
like the classifieds.
Yeah, but literally, like my daughter, literally, like I've got the goat, and I saw that and I was like, that blows my mind. So that's one thing, and then so I don't know that probably has no context for you guys, but here you go. You ask me a question like that, like what's your question about women, and then I'll be like,
the head thing.
Yes.
The head
so like
very
yes
intuitive.
And no. Yes and no. It's a facial thing, right?
It's a facial thing, and like the angle and the frequency. I think we're going to do an analysis, scientific analysis of it.
I could not. 4 months of where's the train or where's and then the answer, like you're like, I tried to figure out.
It's like the Indian version of nodding.
But there's no answer.
The same like head nod could mean like, unless it's like an accent, like sometimes people think that they're saying the word correctly, but like a head nod can be interpreted as yes or no, or like maybe or whatever.
It's very ambiguous.
Yes.
But we understand it because we like know the dialect of our culture.
So that's what is it? So answer yes with just your head.
I feel put on. I don't know.
It's like one of these. Yes.
Look at the facial expression.
Okay, now answer no.
Look at the expression,
It's the same head, not just a different face.
But it's also like the angle of the head too. Like
okay. So like, no is more down and yes is more up.
No, I was thinking like yes is like of course. Like like I don't know.
It varies by person.
Yeah, probably.
It really does.
Really confusing.
I know.
This is some really confusing.
It is
shit.
very confusing.
I could never. But what about maybe?
Yeah.
Does that person have a nose?
Oh my God! Maybe.
Do they know?
How do I respond in a
yes or no?
Nod?
Okay, let's do it. She did not have a nose.
She had a nose.
Oh, she had a nose.
Trying to do the head.
All right, listeners, you got to get the Patreon to see the video. Oh, wait.
Or we're putting this on YouTube at some point.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
But do go to our Patreon.
Yeah. You got to watch the video to see the head nods.
Patreon.com/facial recognition.
Oh, and we're doing the head nods, by the way, completely naked. So you have to buy Patreon to see what we're doing in this, right?
Did you guys not know we're naked in every episode?
Yeah. I mean, while we're talking about masturbation, we're actually doing it. So if you're just listening, you're really messing up.
Should have subscribed.
We need you to be our manager.
I just got you guys more. Come on. But a lot of your audience is Asian, right?
I don't know.
Right? I would hope so. Okay, you guys know how to log on to Patreon.
or like my friends from
you have money
from engineering and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like everybody who's associated with tech.
That's right.
Where can are we good? We have any other questions?
Yeah, what do you want to promote?
Where can we find you?
Okay, so I have a 1 hour special available on Tubi TV, TUBI TV. It was on Hulu, but now it's there. And then, but you can, I have a podcast, The Perfect 10 Podcast. You can go back and listen to our episode, and I'll have to have you ladies on at some point soon. And what else? I've got the film coming out in a few months. And next,
does it have a name yet? Where can we look for it?
It has a title, but let's just log on. Just get on social media. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram is my fave.
What's your handle?
Just my name, LahnaTurner, and you can find me on all that stuff. But
at Lahna Turner.
But I'll actually be in Florida.
What?
Trying to find this bitch?
Trying to find these bitches.
Come on, bitches, come out and see. I'll be in Naples on the 26th of December.
So I'm from Fort Myers.
No, okay.
Are you doing Off the Hook?
I am. Will you be in
I
Florida?
leave on the 25th.
Damn it. Well,
bummer.
Could have met my family.
Well, I will be in the area though, so maybe we can hang.
Christmas,
I'd love to.
Christmas with Lahna.
Okay, we will talk off mic.
That sounds fun. Christmas with Lahna. That almost sounds like a Hallmark special.
We'll do like a little segment for Patreon, completely naked. So if you sign up now and pay for it now, come the end of December, you'll have a little Christmas present.
You're the best PR person.
Awesome.
Naked. Why didn't we think of it?
Yeah, no,
we're totally naked.
That's right. When we take off our clothes,
we're freezing.
When we take off our clothes, we're just covered in hair anyway, so they're not going to see anything.
This is exactly what I look like.
We're gonna have a special.
They're going to be like, are they blurred? Do they have a censor bar? No, that's just their hair.
No, we will scratch you and give you rabies.
Oh my goodness!
They didn't tweeze for 2 hours.
Yeah,
and then it's just like all hair. It's ridiculous. It's my plight.
All of you are stunning. So
thank you.
You too.
Thank you. So at Lahna Turner.
Lahna Turner.
Do you want to do our facial rec socials?
Are you guys sick of hearing me say this? You can find us at Facial Recognition Comedy on Instagram and Facebook, and at Facial Rec Comedy on Twitter. Our Patreon is patreon.com/facial recognition comedy, and facialrecognitioncomedy.com is also our website with all of our events and everything that's happening with us. We have on this Sunday is already going to pass, but we have
So January.
Sketchfest in January. In addition to our regular show at Westside Comedy Theater on the second Sunday of every month at 9 p.m., we have our Sketchfest show in San Francisco on January 19th, 8 p.m., Cafe de Nord. Everybody come out. We want to sell it out like we did last year.
Yeah, and it's the same day as the Women's March in San Francisco.
Oh, nice.
Which is going to be emceed by our buddy Mona
Shake.
The first South Asian woman to MC the Women's March in San Francisco.
Amazing.
We're going to go out and support
Oh, you
her.
know Mona.
I
We
know
were just talking about Mona.
So Mona and I did a sketch together. If you go on my YouTube channel, which is also Lahna Turner, you will find something called The Beef in the Middle East, where Mona and I wrestle as a Muslim and a Jew.
Oh, that's so funny.
It's actually
the beef in the Middle East.
It's the beef, and Ralphie is the commentator, and it's really, really funny. And
that's so fun.
Who wins, the Jews or the Muslims in the beef in the Middle East?
The
What do you think?
Americans. The Americans?
Who's going to win? I don't know. You got to go and watch the beef in the Middle
Can we
East.
get
And they're
this link?
naked. Are you
Yeah.
naked?
We can share this link.
We'll share this link.
I'm wearing 2 yarmulkes over my boobs, and she's wearing stuff too. Like it's definitely
It's sexy.
hot.
Got it.
Yes.
We got to see this.
And we're wrestling in oil.
Oh, man.
Wow, that's so topical.
It's really funny, and it has like maybe 5,000 views. It needs to have 100,000 because it's really
I'm
like
going to go find this.
Yeah.
people need to look at this.
Anyways,
I love Mona.
That lady wrestling in oil is going to lead the women's march. You guys.
Yeah,
Good
in
for
San
Mona.
Francisco.
Feminism means everything.
That's awesome.
So get your tickets. We sold out last year, and we'd love for you to make it.
Yeah.
Pallavi, what are your socials?
Thank you so much for asking me, Fizza. Oh my God, thanks. My socials are PALLAVIGUNALAN. That's my website, my Instagram, my Facebook, and my Twitter.
At Kind Cunt, right?
No, it's not me.
Oh,
But I
man.
do have, I just got my merch. I have Kind Cunt women's tanks available now.
Yay.
If you go to my website or
Merch.
email me at PallaviGanalanComedy@gmail.com, then I'll send you one.
Yeah, so that's kindcunt@gmail.com.
That's so rude. You guys always,
brand.
but it's not my email.
It's Pallavi Ganalan.
comedy@gmail.com. If you want a Kind Cunt shirt. Anyways, go on, Z. Get 'em.
yeah. Jesus, it's like 11:30. Okay. You can find me on all social medias at Really Zara. Zara is spelled ZAHRA.
Like a cheerleader.
Yeah.
ZAH. Don't forget the H. And I'm Fizza Dasani. You can find me on all social medias at Fizza Dasani. I'll spell that because I probably should. It's FIZAADOSANI. FIZAADOSANI.com and at the Fizza on Facebook.
Nice.
So that was fun.
Yeah.
Thank
Thanks,
you
Lana.
so much
Thank
for being
you guys.
an emotional roller
It was
coaster.
a
Everybody.
therapy session.
And
I
it
know.
was just we didn't have you booked until an hour beforehand. So
It
this
made
was
so much sense.
The way
great.
it goes is
Perfect.
awesome. We could talk body hair, but we got down and dirty with it all, so it's good.
Yeah.
to be continued.
Yes.
Thank
Love
you.
it.